Have you ever wondered what would happen if you truly believed that you could change your life? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is an old, changeable pattern in your brain? Welcome back to Journey to Legacy. I'm your host, Wayne Veldsman. In this episode, Dr. Robb Kelly is back. And this conversation, it goes deeper than ever before. We talk about how every single day you have a unique opportunity to rewire your brain and also how to make it happen. We talk about why most people stay in jobs too long, stay in relationships too long, and stay stuck too long, and how you can break the cycle. We talk about smashing old behavior patterns, building new ones, and how simply expecting good things might actually change your reality. From homelessness and addiction to building a global neuroscience and mental health coaching empire, please welcome back Dr. Robb Kelly.
A guest that I don't want to miss a moment of. You stand out as one of the interviews that I've done that I actually talk about the very most. And today,
saw your blurb on. Your blurb was like when you sent a little short video, man, I played it all over. I'm like, when you get in a position, you get in a lonely position when you're here because no one here wants to speak to you because you think, that you're too better than them. And the guys at old money here don't want to speak to you and it's like nobody compliments and nobody. So you sat here going, and then when I saw that video, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. So thank you for that.
it's absolutely my pleasure. Today's interview is gonna be a little different than some past ones because you're one of the few that I've invited back, right? Of
Oh,
course, we have opportunities to, and so it's exciting times. Rob, for people that aren't familiar, give us just a little brief introduction of yourself and, of course, the Robb Kelly Recovery Group as well, please.
hey guys, my name is Dr. Robb Kelly. I'm a PhD in psychologist, PhD in behavioral science. I'm a neuroscientist as well. We specialize in alcohol, drugs, depression, PTSD, Alzheimer's, all the psych stuff we specialize in. We're going for about 20, 30 years. I can't remember. With 11,000 patients right now, we have 5 offices around the world. And basically what we weren't happy with the normal, just stop drinking. Why are you so depressed? So we spent about $1.5 million over the years studying, researching our own stuff and made a huge breakthrough. And I had the breakthrough for about 10 years now. So we're the quiet guys in the corner that you're the A-list celebrities always use, the footballers and stuff. But we do have sliding scales and we do have pro bonos and stuff. So here we are, San Antonio, Texas.
Amazing. So San Antonio, but five offices, San Antonio or globally, I think.
Yeah, San Antonio, Dallas, Manchester, England, London, Switzerland, Spain is where we're based, yeah.
What took you to San Antonio? What was the reason that you chose to make that's your primary home in practice, right?
Yeah, so I came over to Dallas, Texas 20 years ago to do a talk for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and never went back. And I stayed there until about 7 years ago, maybe, where I met my wife, current wife, and her family's here. So one day when I met her, it's probably about 10 years ago, sorry. I was out the industry. I was very disillusioned with the industry. And I met her and we moved in together and I knew I was going to marry her and her family's there. And I said to her, one day I'm going to take you down to San Antonio and that's going to be our home. And that's what I did.
She worked out. What's your belief, not to get too random here, right? Because I love, right? You said, 30 plus years in the industry, neuroscience, and we'll dive deep into the differences around trauma and addiction and then how it matches with neuroscience, which I think is a really amazing route that you all take.
Yeah.
But you just mentioned that right after you had met your wife, right? And you had mentioned, someday I'm going to marry you and I'm going to take you to San Antonio. What's your take on manifestation?
Oh my goodness. What a great question again, right? No one's actually asked me that question. So manifestation in our industry, because we are, and I say this humbly, guys, but you got to admit, we're years ahead of everybody else. So there's a subliminal and wanting things so badly that you can visualize them is 1,000,000,000% true. I mean, we've tried and tested so many things around this. It's like visualization is if you can visualize something that you want, if you can start acting like that already, if you put a plan in place for it to happen, the mind doesn't know the difference between the truth and the false. So which reality are you living in? If you want to live in this new life reality, it's 100% possible, guys. We've proven it 11,000 times. Plus my own journey. It's like you have to do it. The mind is a beast, guys. Okay. And it will create anything you want to create. Now, if you get up in the morning and you stub your toe, oh my God, this got tough. I don't think today's going to go well, man. Track that saying because today won't go well. Whereas if you get up in the morning, you do your morning work, we talked about breath work and stuff, and you expect good stuff to happen that day. Monitor it. Good stuff will happen. See, all these things that are around us for the taking, but we're so tunneled in our thinking because of our childhood trauma that we don't dream of these things, ever dream. And the deal is like, I would hate anybody to get to the age of 70, 80, look back in your life and realize there was nobody watching and you really could have done anything you wanted to do. And once you get that mindset and identity, your own identity, the world opens up to you.
Nobody is watching. Nobody
Right.
cares what you're doing. Go take action. It's amazing that you said, right? I said, what's your take on manifestation? And you say it's 1,000,000,000% true. Right? What we visualize, our brain can't recognize necessarily what's real and what's fake.
Yes.
Help me to drill this down into more concrete things that viewers can maybe take away, because it seems so, dare I say, magical. Well, how can you just visualize something or believe in something and make it come true? Where, of course, my brain should be able to tell the difference.
Yeah.
What are some of like the actionable things that are happening as to why, maybe from a neuroscience perspective, why like this can actually become true?
Well, old wiring, everything's in a pattern, guys, okay? Human beings replicate past behavior all of the time. If you go to the seaside with a bunch of guys, for instance, you have a few beers, you have a great time, you get back on the bus, which seat do you sit in? Probably the one that you traveled there in. And these repeated patterns is part of the basal ganglia. So repetition strengthens confirms of any childhood trauma. And everybody has childhood trauma. There are trillions of memories stored in the subconscious brain. And the brain protects you because if all this stuff out to come out of the subconscious brain, you would go insane. So everything's there. But the pattern that we get in, we get up in the morning, we restaurant, shower, toast and coffee, you did it, and we stay in that pattern and nothing changes. Nothing ever changes. So the idea is to challenge your mind. I don't care if you haven't been to college, if it doesn't make any difference. It's 2025. So when we repattern the neural pathways, when we reset the basal ganglia, which is our repetition again, with things we do over and over and over again, it's that once we try new things, the basal ganglia picks that up. And again, imagine a clock face, guys. So it's the thought pattern repeated. Driving a car, flying a plane, there's a repetitive pattern that needs to happen before it becomes a working part of the brain. Now, when it becomes a working part of the brain, you don't have to think about it, okay? Driving a car, for instance. Oh, it's really hard at first lesson, and after a couple of months, like you just listen to the radio, calling your girlfriend, waving to you all at once because it's a working part of the mind. What we have to do is visualize and then manifest what we want and start acting and changing the patterning around that. So if we can get up in the morning, flood the body with oxygen, because we only breathe 45% of our lung capacity, all of a sudden, our brain cells that's not had oxygen for probably months or years. And the body's flushed once we start reinventing the neural pathways and repatterning. So basically 300 neural pathways die every day in the brain. What are you replacing them with? That's the question. Are we replacing them with the same routes to work, the same wife, the same arguments, the people are out, or are we inputting this new patterning where you can change neural pathways from self-sabotage to anything that you want to do? If you've seen any of these speakers on stages, they've been through this program because that's what it's about. Just remember, every day, 300 thought patterns are out. what you're putting in. You want to put new stuff in pertaining to the life that you want. And again, it's like, oh, it's woo-woo, it can't be possible. Guys, again, anything's possible. You know, you can be anybody that you want to be. And when I first came to America, all Americans said the same thing to me. And I get it. You know, you can be anybody you want. You can do anything. Well, I can't be president of the United States. That's the first thing they used to say. Now, let's forget political views. I'm not political. I don't care who's in charge. But you can't miss the fact that 8 years ago, we had a businessman running the country with no political experience whatsoever. How dare you tell me you can't achieve your dreams? Somebody's put that there, guys.
Somebody has absolutely put that there.
Yeah.
This piece you just said, 300 neural pathways die every day. This is 300 old thought patterns, old beliefs that you have the opportunity to replace. Is this correct that then if 300 die every day, does that mean that 300 new are born every day?
That's the basis around it. And so if you ever want to do anything like, I don't know, fix a car, build a house, paint something, while you're doing that, you're building the pathways around it, but it's exciting. So then neural pathways are sparking, the synapse is like, whoa, this is amazing. Whereas walking the car, walking the dog, or taking the kid, they're old neural pathway. There's not as exciting. So the idea is to build on these 300-ish, don't hold me to that, neural pathways of exciting stuff, and then stick to replacing every day another 300, another 300, another 300, and don't do the same thing that you're doing yesterday. If you want to start this, get up in the morning. If you have coffee first and shower, have a shower first and coffee. Sounds silly. No, that's a new patterning around the old patterning. And once you do that and believe stuff will happen, expect good things to happen, then the patterning around that, just like driving a car or learn how to ride a bike, is the new patterning will overcome the old patterning, and then anything's possible.
New patterning will become and replace the old patterning. Rob, thank you for putting it this way. Right? Like I said, I think the more static, concrete we can create it for people, the more they'll start to believe it. You said this piece of the bus, right? Okay, you took a bus somewhere, right? You sat in seat number 2. On the way home, I bet you money, you sit in seat number 2 again. Because this is the pattern, right? Here's the repetition. You did it in the past, so you're going to do it again, and it can be replicated for almost everything in our lives.
Yes. And we get it. I get it in yoga. You know, these 3 or 4 women come in to go to the same place every time. I didn't know. I went to one of their places and they were like, oh, they didn't feel comfortable. So I moved over because they felt more comfortable in the place that we've been doing it for 12 months. We have to smash that patterning. We have to smash the old behavior. We have to create new behavior and thought patterns. Internal dialogue now becomes imperative to moving forward. Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. I've proven it. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned last time, guys, but I have offices in San Antonio, and the thought came to me about 2 years ago, why don't I open a restaurant, a British restaurant serving British food? Everybody around me said, that's silly. A British restaurant in Texas? Are you insane? It's been open 2 years, and it's 12% ahead, according to our POS, of every other restaurant, including chains around San Antonio and beyond, because I visualized it. I made it happen. I don't even entertain a no, and I don't even entertain a negative thought around it. I bulldoze through expecting great things, and great things will happen. We have to get rid of that. We have to get rid of that, repetition of old self-sabotage, because food, sex, porn, alcohol, it's just self-sabotage. It's not about the substance. It's not about alcoholism. It's not about alcohol. It only has 1% to do with alcoholism. So that gives you an idea that whatever you're going to achieve, you've got to visualize it might be 1% right now, but the more your repetition around that thought pattern, the more it will happen. Expect great things daily.
Expect great things daily, right? Keep building the 300-ish today. Build another 300-ish tomorrow. Maybe the next day you only build 100 or 50 positive ones. The next day, again, hop back on, right? Keep going the right direction, because that repetition is going to compound on itself. And this tip that you gave here of, changing the pattern, simple example. Instead of the moment that you get out of your bed, right? First you go brush your teeth and then you get coffee. Well, change the pattern. Get coffee first and then go brush your teeth, right? Start making change. And what I feel like that's going to now make your brain more receptive to additional changes potentially also. Or am I off?
No, you're right. And the more we have new behavior, the more excited the brain is. It loves building, but, and here's the but, because of self-sabotage and childhood trauma, we jump into fear. Most people are fearful of the future. Most people don't want to change because what if it doesn't work? What if people laugh at me? What if people this? It's like you said, a great line. Nobody's watching you. They've got their own stuff going on, but we think they are. So we stop doing things, or we don't step out of that pattern just in case it's not as good as the old pattern. It's like, no, it's not. I mean, if you look at your life, if you haven't got the job you want, the business you want, the wife, the dad, if you haven't got all that, the beautiful children, if you haven't got all that, you're living in past, you're living in childhood trauma, or you believe that that's not possible to you. Well, I work a 9 to 5, I hate my boss, get another job. What? I'm going home every night to my husband, I'm walking on eggshell, get another husband. Well, it can't be that. It is that easy. Because if you don't, you will hate yourself when you're my age, 64, 65, around that, because you look back in your life and you go, wow, human beings stay in relationships too long. Human beings stay in jobs too long. Human beings stay in self-sabotage, depression too long. Enough, guys, enough. We could stay on here for the next, and I'm not joking, 6 months. And I could still be feeding you new stuff that happens. And sooner or later, you're going to believe it. And once you see that first glimpse of that mind change, therefore behavior change, therefore outcome around you, you'll get excited. Like I did, you'll push. How far can I push? I mean, could I really be a psychologist in America? Could I build a little business? Oh, no, let me build an empire. Stop thinking small. Listen, I'm starting a business tomorrow. I go, whoa. Do you know what business is? It's GoDaddy. You get a website for $20. It's Vistaprint. You get some business card. That's a business. Why not build an empire? Why not look at that business to franchise it? Why don't you look at that business? You've got to be thinking ahead and believing that we had a small office in Dallas when I first came over. I used to walk past, we get off the elevator, we walk past our house in the corner, but these glass-fronted offices, there were 7 offices inside it in a medical building in Highland Park, completely out of our price range. But every time I got off, I visualized and I claimed it for my God, Spirit, Uncle Jimmy, whatever you believe in. And I claimed it and claimed it and claimed it. And people used to say, where are you? I said, well, we're in the corner, but we're going to be moving in there soon. How blatant. What? How ostentatious was that? But I kept doing that, Wayne. And one day after about 7 months, my assistant comes in. He said, hey, I've just bumped into the guys that own this place. And I was telling them what we do. And they said, why don't you move into the bigger ones? And I said, we can't afford it. Or she said, I can't afford it. So they said in an instant, well, move in, don't pay anything for the first 6 months, and then pay a quarter of the rent for the rest of the year, and we'll assess at the end of the year. But we planned it. We knew. And the number, my birthday's 7/7, and the number of the office was 777. So it's yours, man. It's yours. But you can't believe one day and then back off in fear the second day. Human beings, you're going to not like your life, man. You've really got to live to the full every single day. And we only have today because the brain resets every 24 hours. So we have now. Your future is here. In the next 12, 14 hours you're awake, it's here. It's not tomorrow, yes. It's here is where reality is. So if you could change anything in your life, I tell people, what would it be? Well, I'd love to get this. Why don't you have it? Well, I mean, I come from the project. So? Well, I didn't go to university. So? Stop making excuses. I asked for the reason why you wasn't in that position in your life already. And then when people start to believe, crazy things start to happen.
Crazy things start happening. One thing you said, I'm just going to go ahead and just challenge it real quick for everybody, and I know you're going to agree with me, is that you said this needs to be a daily thing every single day. Anybody that's listening, don't you dare let that stop you. You're going to fall off some days. I have bad days. I'd put money on it. Rob, you have bad days, at least some bad hours.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, right? Don't make that an excuse not to even start. Just hop back on again and keep compounding them. It's okay to miss a day. The majority of the population don't even get one day of flooding positivity, of flooding growth, of changing their patterns. Simple changes compound. Rob, I want to pivot slightly here, and we're not going to go too deep into the story, but people that are listening that didn't hear our past conversation, we're sitting here, they're listening to us. Well, it's easy for you all to say. You're a positive person. You come from a great background. It's hard for me. Rob, tell everybody a little bit of your story, please, about where you come from, just to show them how change is.
So I'm from Manchester, England, and we grew up very poor, very low working class. My dad digs the road for the gas company, and my mum cleaned other people's houses. And we never had any money. We had a lot of love, but we didn't have any money. We got 2 pairs of shoes a year. We got an outfit twice a year, one for summer, one for winter. That's all we had, you know. And I was the guy waving the school bus off because they were going on a local trip to the local park to camp. And my parents couldn't afford 20 cents. However, they could afford to go to the bar every Friday and Saturday night. Just bear that in mind. So I was that kid. Well, you don't know you're poor when you're growing up, but it does have an effect on you. So I didn't come from it. I was in a gang by the time I was 16, 17, 18, around there, maybe younger. I did some bad stuff. I got arrested on maybe 30 occasions. It was just crazy. And I always didn't want that lifestyle. I looked at my mum and dad, and, they got to the retiring age and they got like $100 off the government a week to live on. And they paid taxes for like 40, 50 years. If they'd have done that privately, there'd be about $12 million in there. I just didn't want that lifestyle. So I started to better myself. I started to teach. I started to learn. I was open to new education. I wasn't really very good at that, but that's the direction that I was pushed in. And then when I came over here for 3 weeks only, guys, I visualized an empire. In the moment you came up the stairs and onto the runway, and then you went, that kind of thing. There was no these things. And the minute I hit the floor, I thought, this is my chance. This is my only chance that I'm going to get, because all my friends had died of heroin overdoses, and I grasped it with both hands. So when and I was homeless, I died twice on the streets, I lost my children, I stabbed my wife 3 times one night, all the crazy stuff that alcoholics do. So my background was nowhere near what I did. It's impossible to do what I did, people say. But the change for me with a new country, a new life, I started to believe that all these dreams that I used to have about, being wealthy and famous and stuff like that, here was the chance. And I grasped it. If I would have stayed in England, I would not be here today. Even in England, I would not be at this level I am today, because the change happened for me. I was in a new country. I've never been to America. It was all exciting, and boom, timing was perfect for me to push me out. So I am not by no means from a privileged family. No means anybody in my family, they get married, they go to work in a low-paid job, they have children, and they die. That's the pattern of my family. And I wanted to change that. So when people say, what do you know? Look at you and your big dead. You've never been homeless, check. You've never lost your kids, check. You've never been beaten to almost a check. And then, so all of these things, the price I had to pay to be here was very, very harsh for me. The loss of children, the loss of, all this stuff that happened in my life, that heartbreak of birthdays and Christmases, especially when I was homeless, of crying myself to sleep on thousands of occasions, was just broke me. I didn't want to live anymore, I couldn't handle the pain. But now I look back, the stuff that I went through was last year at Harvard University, because I've seen the bad side. And I took, very important line, I took all that terrible stuff and I turned it into my greatest asset going forward. So the industry, I have 4 businesses, but this industry, Robb Kelly Group, that is more important than these certificates behind me. It's knowing and believing that I can get people well. It's learning even more about subliminal messaging, and always learning the 9 dimensional breathwork therapy that we have now is mind blowing. It's like, I keep moving, man. I keep pushing that envelope. You think I could? Hell yeah. You think? Hell yeah. When somebody comes into my office, Dr. Robb Kelly, yeah. They go, well, you're not heard the question yet. It doesn't make any difference. The answer is yeah. Whatever you want, I'm going to provide, unless I can't provide it, which is almost impossible. But it's always a yes. We can do stuff, guys. We really can.
You leave me speechless every time. There's pieces that you just shared that I wasn't aware of. You were in a gang growing up, arrested upwards of 30 times. If you think that your situation is dire, send me a message. Like, let's hear it, right? If you're coming from a worse place than this, because then let's talk about it. Let's make sure that we get you moving. Please, it would be our pleasure. I'll speak for Rob right here because last time you shared, if there's somebody out there, you gave your personal cell phone number out. You are in this to help people. Everybody, that's the reason why I do this show. It's selfishly to gain knowledge myself. It's also selfishly to try and help people see new perspectives and change their lives. To be able to go from broke, homeless, you had 2 pairs of shoes with holes in them. You told me a story that you were so embarrassed as a kid that you would run to a different neighborhood so that your friends' parents would pick you up from there, thinking that is where you lived and where you were from.
Just to go back to the personal phone number thing, again, people think I'm insane because I had gatekeepers. You are one of the very few shows, probably 3 in my life, that I give the phone number because I got no skin in this game. Wayne, you are one of the greatest podcasters, guys, intelligent person that I enjoyed being on with. But there were 3 people that text me, and 3 calls took place. I gave one of them $5,000 to start a business. And I'm not saying it happens all the time, guys. Don't call me now. I need $5,000. I said we sent $250 to the second one. And the third one, after all this time, we're still working with pro bono. We started his own business. We're picking up where he's got his wife back. His children have come back. This is my life. I don't get involved in the money. I don't get involved in anything. This is me. And people call you crazy. And, there was one guy on the streets, I told you last time, called Derek. I just want to be your Derek. What's wrong with that? Wow, no, I'm the guy that pays lunch debts off to like 12 schools every year around me. It's like, I was a gas when I found out that, there's a lunch debt with the kids that can't eat because it's too much money. This is what I do. I can't take it with me, man. It's not my money, so I'm always there to help. I get more pleasure in helping people than you will ever receive, guys out there. So if we do something with you or we help you, well, we're going to pay you back. You've already paid in full, man, by letting me help you. I'm the guy that doesn't want you to be as good as me. I want you to do better than me because I had so many chances that I give them chances to other people. I want to be your Derek. I want to be your John. I want to be the guy in 10 years' time when you have everything you need and life is amazing and you're giving it away. Going, do you know something? I want to Dr. Robb. I want to be still alive, man. That guy made a difference. That's all.
Wow. Everybody, I said it earlier, go listen to the other episode as well. Because Rob, you just mentioned John. And I just, again, have chills. Just chills. We don't have time to go too deep into it today, but I mean, if you have a thought to share.
Yeah, I met a guy called John, and he was, I spoke to him in an AA room. I worked with him for 12 weeks every Wednesday. He taught me stuff. I believed in him. My life changed on the last 12 Wednesday. I went there the next day, my life changed. He taught me stuff that's never been heard before about neuroscience, before neuroscience came out. And we could never trace that man or find him after. We tried our best. We put private detectives on it. We never found him. But the stuff he taught me, like even not being selfish, because I'm from the background is I always think somebody's out to get me. I always want to prove to you that because I only had 2 pairs of shoes, now I've got 50 pairs of shoes, and I want to tell you about them 50 because if I tell you're gonna like me and like me, and he taught me all that. Just be quiet, do what you got to do, and God will look after you. And that's the way it's been ever since. Like I don't know, 30 years ago or something. Terrible with time.
Beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Here's a question I want to address because, as I said, right, with the more factual things we can put in place, the more concrete examples, I think it's easier for people to grasp, right? So you and I just spoke on how we like to help other people. That they're like, oh, I'm going to pay you back someday. It's like, well, actually, this has already paid me back. Getting to help you. Last time we talked about how we like to give people compliments, right? Whether it be on the street, we like to help others, and it gives them a flood of dopamine and some other chemicals. What happens in our brains when we are actively helpful, actively nice to other people?
You have the four chemicals that are flowing freely. So if you compliment somebody, you'll always feel better. Why? Dopamine fix, stuff like that. So when you compliment somebody, it can change their day, okay? But it also changes mine because I feel good about doing what I've done. So there's four chemicals every day that need to happen in the brain to be happy, genuinely happy, not drug dependent happy, and that's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. Both of the two of them neurochemicals, the most important ones, dopamine and serotonin, created in the gut. So we have to be eating half different for everything to work, and it's feeling good about helping another human being. I don't think you could put a price on that. I mean, I'm in a position now, Wade, thank God that I have money that I can give away. So I give away monetary every single day just because I can, not because I'm trying to show off. Nobody knows about it, apart when I just briefly talk about it now. But helping another human being, man, we need to do that more. I mean, do me a favor, tomorrow, compliment a couple of people. Sneakers are always the best, guys. So if you're on a bill of fare with people and stuff like that, and you see somebody coming towards you with nice sneakers on, I want you to say two words to it. If you want to change the world, that is. If you don't say anything, but nice sneakers. That's all I want you to say. They're going to go, oh, thank you, man. Sit around and watch him walk away. He's going to look down at his sneakers at least 2 to 3 times. You just change his day in life. But he goes on to the wife or girlfriend because he's in a good mood. Now she's in a good mood. And the mother-in-law, and you get the gist. Nice sneakers. Good morning. Hey, buddy. It's just simple words that would change the world, man. Because you might be the last person somebody sees before they do something tragic, you know? And that always, my old sponsor is an old villain and gang boss from way back when, but he always told me that, you may be the last face roll that somebody sees. If you're having a bad day, you're going to pass that on to that guy who's going to the Golden Gate Bridge, or you're going to smile. See, I do a Saturday morning meeting in a homeless shelter. I've been doing it for years. I go there on Saturday morning, 9 o'clock until 11, and I talk and inspire people and stuff like that. My father died on the Thursday evening. So we found out by 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Saturday morning, I delivered that message, and he's applauding. Everyone's like, oh, man, you're so good. Thank you. And it's like, God, word, not mine. I come outside, and my sponsor said, Rob, you killed it again. You doing okay today? You going to have a great day? I said, well, my father died, And he's like, what? How the hell did you should have said something. That's not your problem, guys. It's my gift to inspire you today. That's why God gave me therapists and doctors and sponsors. That's that conversation over there. But I'm not going to fill you with my negativity or sadness. What purpose does that serve? So I always have to be given. I always have to be confident. I want to rewire your brain for happiness and success. That's my job. The rest of the things you see, like I said, I don't get involved in that stuff. But if I could, like today, I mean, you don't see me and Wayne, counting websites out and buy this book, and this is this course you can take. Wayne and I know quite well that the reason why I'm on second time is if we can save a life or two today, paid in full. Paid in full. That's what it's about.
Rob, thank you for everything you do. Rehashing just that one piece, everybody, if you heard it right, these 4 chemicals towards happiness in your brain, they're triggered in your brain also when you give a compliment. You're going to trigger it in somebody else's brain. Guess what? Now you selfishly get it as well. So you're going to be happier. You're going to have a better day. And that person is going to go tell somebody else, and it's going to ripple effect. That's why I kind of started the whole motto of the show. And Rob, to start to wrap us up, the theme of the show is called Journey to Legacy, of course. And so one question that I always like to ask everybody at the end is, what does legacy even mean to you? And is there a legacy that you want to leave on this world?
I don't think you're ever gifted or, loved enough until you die. I really believe that. Pop stars get songs out and stuff like that, and paintings, and when they die. My legacy while I'm alive is just to build a place that is easy and peaceful and healing to come to. And after, after I pass away, he was a good guy. Because you don't hear that again. It's a kind of, every entrepreneur will know this. You get to a certain level where you're in that lonely place where, it happened in Dallas loads of times. Did you see what Dr. Robb just did with that patient? He's unbelievable, isn't he? I know, right? Have you told him that? Oh, he already knows. Nobody knows. Just want to put that out there. Nobody knows. So don't be afraid to compliment the guy next to you for doing a great job, or the waitress, and legacy, and leaving a legacy. Like every time we eat out and the bill comes, I say to the waitress or waiter, hey, listen, what we're putting on that tip line? And most of them, I don't know. I mean, just like it's 10%. What's your worth? Because what you see is you're working in a cafe or restaurant serving people, and that's a menial job is what you see. What I see is somebody making ends meet while you're going through college. What I see is somebody who's going to change the world. What I see is somebody amazing in front of me. Now, how much am I putting on this line? And whatever they say, I'm going to put on that line. That's the legacy. That's the kind, building people up, helping people, kind-hearted, loving, aggressive with patience when I need to be, when I'm getting the job done. And that's why I get up in the morning, Wayne. And of course, it's podcast at 8 a.m. rather than getting in at 9. Got to do that, baby. Got to do that. You're amazing. You really are.
Appreciate
you. You changed my life when I saw you. Changed my life. First of all, it was one of the most educated. I don't know, man. I mean, you look amazing. You sound amazing. Your questions are very, very specific and scientific, and brain searching for me. And then I saw that video, and I sent it to everybody. I sent it to my friend. He went, "Oh my God, Rob, thanks for sending it. Why do you send it to me?" I went, "Oh, I'm sending it to everybody." Because I was shocked when you said I met this guy that it changed my world, man. I'm telling you, you never know what effect you have on me. And I have 3 people in my life that has an effect on that. But I owe you deeply, man, for that, because I was a little bit depressed. Something has happened personally, and we got that. And I said to my Jan, come over and look at this. And she put her arm around me and she said, "You see, Rob, people love you, man." And that was a imperative moment in life. So again, thank you for that, man.
It is my pleasure, Rob, and thank you. You're a blessing in my life and in thousands and thousands of others' lives as well. Thank you so much for being here today. Greatly appreciate it.
And that's a wrap, everybody. Please do us a huge favor and share this episode with a friend, family member, or colleague. Wow. Every time I talk to Dr. Robb, I walk away thinking and feeling just unbelievable. So here are a few of my biggest takeaways from today. First, everything is a pattern. We replicate behavior over and over again. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. Second, every day is an opportunity. Robb told us that roughly 300 neural pathways fade away daily. So the real question and opportunity here is, what are you replacing these with? Third, expect good things. Robb said it simply. Expect good stuff to happen, and good stuff will happen. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So it's literally up to you to choose which reality you're feeding it. And finally, kindness rewires the world, and you never know whose life you might shift. A simple compliment or a simple smile can go a long way, or even just 3 simple words. Hey, nice sneakers. Robb's story is proof that your past does not define your future. Homelessness, addiction, arrests, loss, and yet he rebuilt everything. There's one thing that I hope you take away from today. It's this. You can change the patterns in your life. Not tomorrow, not next year, but today. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And most importantly, take one small action today to disrupt and rewire your old harmful patterns. We'll see you next week.